Good evening, my fellow Exorcists, and welcome to the Lay of the Film Exorcist. Tonight, we will be taking a look at the Suicide Squad 2021. A task force of convicts known as the Suicide Squad are sent to the island nation of Corto Maltese to destroy evidence of the giant alien starfish, Starro the Conqueror. Now onto my opinion. So as I said in my previous review, this movie is literally the resurrection of the DCEU and Warner Brothers' best movie of the year, since everyone was so disappointed with how much Space Jam 2 was literally one big commercial for Warner Brothers. Now, one of the biggest reasons most people really enjoyed this film was it's a better version of the 2016 movie. Because Warner Brothers didn't mess with this one like they did previously, leaving the story in the hands of the brilliant James Gunn, who I'm pretty convinced can do no wrong, seeing as he's also well known for creating or co-writing some of the best Marvel movies we've seen, like the Infinity Saga, which involves the Infinity War and Endgame, and the first two Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Actually, if you think about it, James Gunn might be DCEU's savior, like Dave Filoni is for Star Wars, which is really awesome. Now, I think it's time we start getting into the movie itself, starting with the movie's interesting choice of killing off a lot of the characters that we learned about from the start. Thinking they were the main cast only to watch them get picked off so easily. I mean, TDK, literally, he's based on Arm Fall Off Boy, which, yeah, that's the name of the original character, but his power was so fucking stupid. I mean, you can detach your arms and you decide to just slap these guards, that's it, and Javelin, I can kind of see what they were going for with that, having a Greek superhero who, similar to, I guess, like Harley Quinn or Robin or anyone else that wields a bow staff, but seriously, bad idea adding those two. And Weasel?
Well, maybe it's just because you're ugly.
You gotta be kidding me.
I kind of wish Weasel made it a little further in the beginning. I mean, we do know he comes back at the end, but one, ugly as hell. I think I'd prefer the guy in the rat suit. And two, what was the point of him? I mean, what was the point? How was he going to be of any use other than drowning in this movie? But I mean, they definitely showed that this movie wasn't screwing around when it comes to the title Suicide Squad. They literally only killed like 4 or 5 characters in the 2016 film, not counting the many. I mean, James Gunn really knew how to make you care for the characters before he kills them off. And I will say, I was really surprised that Gunn went so dark with the story, showing that he wasn't messing around this time, limiting the jokes, and it's kinda nice. I'd also like to say that the thing with Polka Dot Man's mom was kinda weird. I mean, I get what they were going with, and it was hilarious, but also, who in their right mind would want to see someone's mom wherever they went? That's literally like making the entirety of South Park the Sheila Blavatsky show. I mean, I know personally I would hate to have to hear her loud mouth throughout the entire show. I'm really glad that the show wasn't just following Kyle's life, and it followed all 4 characters. And I actually think the funniest versions of her would actually be the man with the purple dyed beard in the club, and King Shark. I mean, no offense to the actress, but on her King Shark variant, she kinda reminds me of the pale woman from Scary Stories We Tell in the Dark. It's just the same build and just as brainless, playing with the butterfly. It's just pretty hilarious. Oh, and about the music in the movie, they finally found a way to spread out the songs. I mean, there's still a lot of licensed music, but James Gunn found a way to make the songs work. From using Johnny Cash to show how gritty and dangerous Blackgate and Savant are, and using People Who Died by the Jim Carroll Band, as a kind of anthem for the massacre of the first Suicide Squad of the movie. And finally, Louis Prima's Just a Gigolo made a perfect score for Harley's big escape massacre. Escape/massacre. Geez, there's literally a lot of massacring going in this movie, and it's beautiful, especially on Harley's, with the way the background literally explodes with colorful flowers and cartoon characters, showing the way she sees killing people thanks to her strained mental state. This is also why no matter who's on camera, Harley Quinn will always be the best part of the film. And she always seems to have the best fight scenes in any movie, including Birds of Prey. I mean, in this movie, she literally takes a part of her dress and forces a guy to slit his throat. And it's just... This girl is so skilled when it comes to fighting. And I love Margot Robbie because she is so amazing outside and inside of the character, and just how acrobatic she is. She is literally the real life Harley Quinn. I mean, wow. I do also like the little romance between Harley and Luna, despite how short it was, showing that even Harley has learned to improve herself when it comes to people she dates, giving us the idea that after her breakup with the Joker, she has decided to pick and choose who she falls for based on what they're willing to do. And it seems one of the biggest problems she looks for is if the person is willing to kill a child or not. Because it turns out Harley doesn't stand for killing children, which is pretty big for her, because it shows even she has a moral code. And actually, I keep joking this with a bunch of my friends and other people. I think the real moral of the movie was, don't kill children. I mean, everyone in this movie has either gotten mad at someone for expressing the idea of killing a child, or they've ended up dying because of their belief that they should kill children. I mean, look at Peacemaker. He talked about killing all women, children, and men because it's for liberty. I mean, talk about an American fanatic. I mean, that's wrong. That's wrong, Peacemaker. No, bad Peacemaker. But I'd also like to say that I am kinda sad that we lost Captain Boomerang so early in the film. Because, I mean, he's literally one of the only people from the previous movie that I felt deserved more. Especially with the perfect chemistry he and Harley had. But since he's dead, I guess we'll never know what could have been. I'd also like to take note that it seems like James Gunn has something against birds. Because right at the start of the movie, he has Savant kill a bird with a rubber ball, and then there's a scene where General Mateo has Silvio Luna's birds burned alive because he feels that they are a distraction. I mean, then again, there is that kind of revenge scene that the birds get when a small yellow bird swoops in and eats a piece of Savant's head as payback for the bird that he killed. So, to be honest, I'm kind of confused on the whole bird thing. I mean, does James Gunn hate birds, or does he feel they deserve justice? Let us know in the comments. I also love how they did their best to make Polka Dot Man a better villain in this movie. Because it is well known that he's a very underrated character due to his very unique superpower of using polka dots to attack people. I mean, he's literally one of the biggest jokes of the Batman series, and many question his existence until now. I mean, he's right up there with Condiment King. Polka Dot Man has been a joke for years, and I'm glad he's finally getting his due in this movie. I'm also not a fan of Peacemaker, because he's an interesting character, but John Cena is literally a douchebag in this movie, going out of his way to compete with Bloodsport, and it does get kinda annoying, and I will say that I wish Peacemaker had died, because now that he's alive, it means that we're forced to see more of him. I mean, the guy's getting his own series pretty soon, but no offense to John Cena, I didn't like the character. I really hated that character. Fuck you, Peacemaker. Now, in contrast, I really love the relationship that Ratcatcher 2 and Bloodsport create in this movie. Feeling like a full-on friendship / father-daughter relationship due to how kind both of them are, and this is also strengthened by the brilliance of Taika Waititi's cameo during the bus scene and the boss fight with Starro, because it gives us this movie's moral, which is, rats are the lowliest and most despised of all creatures. If they have a purpose, so do we all. This makes it clear that Bloodsport's purpose is to protect both his daughter and Cleo, which is shown when he tries to kill Peacemaker to save her, and Cleo's purpose is to protect Bloodsport, which is reflected when her rats save Bloodsport from being killed by Starro. Funny enough, it's also these rats that save the world, because of their ability to chew through anything, which in itself is still pretty creepy for someone like me who has a huge fear of rats. You're probably also wondering why I haven't talked about the Thinker yet, and that's because I didn't really see him as much of a villain in this movie compared to other versions like the diabolical version in the Flash series on CW, and that's because he just seemed like your typical scientist contracted by the United States to build or experiment on a potential weapon that they could use for war. To simplify it, he's just DC's version of Dr. Armin Zola from the Captain America films. Just a bit more talkative and awkward, and his death was a lot more gruesome than Zola's. But that's about it. He didn't really make that big of an impact on me like Starro the Conqueror did. Hey, at least Starro killed one of our main characters, maybe multiple, and you kinda feel bad for him because of what Thinker and the US did to him. But then again, he or she is a giant mind-controlling starfish. Hey, imagine what would happen if the United States had left him in space. He might have been a lot calmer, because even he said he was happier staring up at the starry sky, or floating through space. Now, with all that said and done, I think it's time we get to my film score. Something new that Silva came up with, so we're working with it, which is most definitely a 10 out of 10, which is a huge contrast from the first Suicide Squad movie, because this one found a way to do everything right, with very, very minor exceptions. But I mean, what else can I say? This movie has great characters, an even better moral, and some really amazing scenes. My only problem is how unlikable Peacemaker is, but other than that, the movie was really good, and I wish Warner Brothers would let their directors take over more. Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, click the little notification bell, and hopefully YouTube will finally stop trying to mind control us. Have a great night, guys.